today's rematch between these two teams. Welcome into everybody. Probably noticing we've got a little bit of a different perspective here. We were up high. There are two rinks here at Moylan Iceplex, for those of you who aren't familiar with the building. Those of you who are, indulge me for a minute. But we were on the bleachers for the other rink, the Olympic rink, which gets us up higher, but it forces us to move sort of to one end so that we don't have any obstructed views. Well, that didn't necessarily work the best. So we're going to try a little bit of a lower perspective. Chase, you're going to have to watch out for those pucks that maybe fly over the glass because
Save the equipment or save you?
yeah, the equipment's more valuable, so save the equipment for sure. But yeah, we're right in that territory when it's coming from our left that we might be in play a little bit. On the other side, there's some netting. And we'll move this over to show you the fellas warming up here. I'll zoom in a little bit too and see if we can get you even better perspective. That's not bad right there. As we swing over here and show you the kids from St. Peter's. There's Matt. He's out of breath, but he made it. Yeah, we're going to give him his microphone now and give him a couple of minutes to collect himself.
Got it to work, huh?
Yeah, thanks to Chase. I proved myself once again to be completely incompetent when it comes to technology, so I needed Chase to help out. Well, we are good to go, and with that horn, that signals the end of the warm-ups.
I noticed that the time is wrong. On my phone it says 6, on your phone it says 7. Yeah, it's been doing that all season.
This perspective really isn't too bad here, Matt.
Through the glass.
What were you thinking?
I think last time I tried through the glass, it was a little awkward, but.
Well, we've got a little bit of the netting, as you folks can probably see right about the center of the screen, where they sort of gathered the netting ovals where the home team plays with the Darks and the.
Did you give us a plug?
No, but I should here before we go. Thanks to our sponsors, Nebraska Electric Power Sports. Experience the future of electric dirt bikes. We sell fun. Joe Chalin Tax Services. Thank you, Grandpa Joe. Charleston Homes, voted #1 Best of Omaha for 2025. And as well to Cottonwood Salon Suite. Our thanks to Vinny's and Jesse for supporting the Junior Mavericks here this season. I'm going to leave it over to you now.
Court right. Allers, T-squared on the face-off drop here for the start of game 2.
Boys are telling me on the drive over here that they earned the right to start this game based on Jake's goal in the first game.
He's got Bear, so the puck drops, goes instantly back to George Nandor. Mavericks poking into the zone, a dump and chase. T-squared on his horse. Peters will get there first. Bodied off the puck by T-squared. T-squared feeds it back to Nandy. Nandy on the blue line, cross ice to the Bear. Bear from the top of the circle, boards, fires, deflected wide. Courtright back behind, tries to ring it around. Stopped up, finally gets back to Bear at that circle. Courtright deep in the corner, gets the puck tapped off his tape, a little back and forth. T-squared comes in to help. Circling back to the blue line, hits the brakes, change direction, top of the circle, tries a loft run, loose in the slot, batted out, Nandor in deep, pushes one towards the slot, another rebound by T-squared, and that one gets batted back to the corner. Allers battling in the corner to St. Petersburg, goes behind, tries to feed to the middle, Courtright rebound, that one batted away again, Nandor comes on deep, feeds it back behind the goal line. St. Petersburg rings it around the boards. Nandy keeps it in for a moment. Allers will help. That one comes trickling out of the zone and creates a 2-on-1 for St. Peters. On the Bear, whiffs on the shot. Bear picks it up, circles behind his own net. Gaining speed out of his zone. Got a lot of attackers, pushes ahead to T-squared. T-squared, dump and change. Schneider on the attack. Gets to the loose puck first. Paxson feeds it back up to Bear. Bear keeps it in at the top of the circle. Feeds it in deep. Paxson and Patera now in a corner battle. Easily brushes off a smaller player. Paxson, center feed. In comes Boss with some speed. Levels his man. keeps the puck in the zone momentarily before St. Peter's taps it out of the zone. Neutral zone, Jack Davis. Cross ice to Patera. Patera gains offense, tangled up in some skates. Petersburg now working it back up, intercepted by Paxson towards the middle, shot, glove save. Frozen with 10:50 left in the first period. 2 shots on goal to none from St. Peter's, and 0-0 is your score.
Well, the boys got a fire lit under him. That was a good start.
That was a lot of offensive attack. The boss, Ike, on defense now with Jack, Schneider, and Patera on offense. A charging face-off win. Shot gets deflected back to the corner. Jack Davis, top of the circle. Mean Mug can't get his shot off. Feeds it backward to Paxton. Paxton from the blue line. And that one's olayed by the glove save of St. Peter's. Now 10:36 left in the first period. Another offensive face-off drop for the Omaha Jr Mavericks. Out comes Abram Keeney. Wyatt Tremaine. Sturba on offense with the boss and Ike remaining on defense. Puck drop in St. Peter's end. A neutral win kicked deep into St. Peter's territory. They bounce it off the boards. Can't quite get it past the boss. Sturba wings one on the net. Big kick save. Tremaine goes behind. Rings it around the short wall. Petersburg picks it up. Carrying it slowly out of their zone. Cross ice pass. Stick handling through the center, turned over. Nice defense by Ike. Tremaine bats it through the neutral zone, forces Peters to reset in their offensive territory. Tremaine uses his legs to deflect the pass, stir up an exiting strategy. Now St. Peter's enters offensive territory. Nice back check, big save by Rosie as the puck got in control of St. Peter's right at the end of that, and was able to fire off their first shot on goal of the game. Now 9:52 left in the first period. 4-1, Mavs out shooting the St. Peter's team. Face-off in Omaha territory, puck drop. Neutral face-off win goes to the boards. Peters able to push it back to their blue line. A shot goes well wide of the net. Circling behind the goal line. Peters gets there first on the short wall. A deflected cross-ice pass goes up in the air and then gently back in Omaha territory. Bear fields it out of the zone. Now a little tangled up in the neutral zone. Allers, Heater, Taz out there. Taz, bigger attacker. He's going to dump and chase. Heater's going to get to it first below the goal line. Nice chip off the boards to himself. He's got a little bit of time. Hits Allers, fires, big save by the St. Peter's. Bear fires another one right to the mask of the goaltender. Another big save. St. Peter's is going to ease this one out of their zone. That one got tangled in some feet, and they're going to blow it dead. I'm not sure why. Too many men.
I think they needed too many men on the ice.
We're going to get a penalty for that one, as there was a lot of traffic in front of the Mavericks bench and couldn't get off the ice fast enough. So they're going to, Courtright's going to sit this too many men on the ice penalty. And we're going to have a 5-on-4. St. Peter's with a power play. 8:58 left in the first. 0-0 the score. Face-off in Omaha territory. Face-off won by St. Peter's. Shot towards the net. A lofted one that Rosie read nicely and made a big save right off the puck drop there. What do we have on the ice here?
You got Jack
on defense. That's Jack Davis, Paxson, and... is that Sturba?
Yeah.
No?
No, Fleming.
Far. That's Will Fleming.
Yep.
So we got Fleming and Nandor on defense.
Paxson and
Paxson
Jack.
and Jack Davis on offense. Another face-off drop. Lob towards the net just wide. Goes behind. Fleming picks it up. Around the boards to Paxson. Paxson, nice centering pass just behind Jack Davis. Jack picks it up along the boards. Batted off of his tape. Paxson dumps and chases. Paxson quickly on his heels, pinches his man along the boards, got to do it again. But St. Peter's rings it out of the zone, out to Nandor. Nandor cross ice to Fleming. Fleming turns, fires one into the neutral zone, stopped by St. Peter's, stirred up by Jack Davis. Fleming pushes it forward. St. Peter's takes over at their own blue line, intercepted gently by Paxton Schneider, and then again by Fleming. Fleming gets it into the zone hard. Peters trying to flow it out.
Too deep.
Stalled out a little bit, and now St. Peter's a 2-on-3 in Omaha territory. Good job back checking by Fleming to create the turnover and foil any sort of shooting attempt by the St. Peter's team.
Oh.
Big hit by St. Peter's on Nandor. Nandor jumps back up. Shot by St. Peter's and a bigger save by Rosie. The Maverick goaltender freezes the puck with 7:42 left in the first. 14 seconds left in the penalty for the Omaha Mavericks. We'll have another face-off in Omaha territory, and the fresh legs are Patera.
Abrams taking the draw.
On offense, the boss, and T-squared on offense. Or sorry, we got 3 offense. T-squared gets it in neutral zone. Can he outskate? Does. In. Forehand, backhand, score! Short-handed. T-squared and kept his feet moving. I'm going to call that an unassisted goal.
Well, yeah, no, he had great.
In front of his own net, or in front of his own bench, creates a turnover, dumps. The chaser is Courtright. Courtright on the forecheck here. St. Peter's charging out of their zone. The cross-ice pass barely gets jumbled. They re-pick it up at the blue line, stumbles at the circle, turned over by Wyatt Ike. Ike going back and forth around a defender to get it out of his zone. Courtright now picks it up, gets inside the blue line, turns it over there in the circle. St. Peter's taking a look, skating it out of their own territory. Going cross-ice to the neutral zone, loses control, forced to reset again. Cross-ice pass, reset in their own zone, goes neutral zone, centering pass, poke check by Allers. St. Peter's picks up the loose puck, gets it into the offensive territory, a shot towards the net, well wide. Ike on the attack below the goal line. Ike pokes it around to the short wall. St. Peter's gets there first, feeds their defense. Defense will keep the puck in deep, forcing the Bear to retrieve below his goal line. 2 St. Petersburg boys there, or St. Peter's boys there. Chips it up nicely to Courtright. Courtright's got a skating lane, centers it out to T-squared. T-squared fires it in and goes for the change. Allers on the forecheck. St. Peter's a little back and forth behind their goal line to get some breathing room. Then they'll pass it out of their zone. Fleming picks it up. Cross ice to the Bear. Bear stick handles a little at the red line. Dumps it in for his teammate to chase. T-squared in the corner first to retrieve. He's got an attacker pinching and then ringing it around behind the net. St. Peter's gets there first. Big man will try and fish it up the boards past Jack. He will. Comes loose out to the red line. Nice soft tap by Fleming. Patera will carry it in. Patera trying to body his way towards the net. Gets pushed off the puck before he could get the shot off. Puck goes back to the corner. Schneider fires. Big save. Patera rebound in the slot. Gets batted away. St. Peter's a soft dump out of the zone. Will this one stall out before an icing? It sure looks like it. Fleming will get there first. No icing. Fleming, lots of speed. Can't quite circle out of the zone. St. Peter stalls it out. Keeps it in the offensive zone. Schneider will do a sword fight to get it out. The soft dump into the zone goes for the change, and Patera is still on the chase. Patera pinches below the goal line, trying to create a turnover, but St. Peter's got some help. Now lots of Mavericks out there on the line change to bring in the support and keep the puck in the offensive zone. Patera picks it up behind the goal line. Good thought to try and backhand it towards the slot. Comes back to the short wall. A deflected shot from Fleming goes almost into the rafters and then picked up by the glove of the St. Peter's goalie to freeze the puck and stop the clock at 4:20 left in the first period. 1-0, your Mavs in the lead. The legs on the ice belong to Wyatt Tremaine. Abram Keeney at the centering spot, and Braden Sturba on the other wing. The boss and Ike on defense. Yep. Face-off drop in St. Peter's territory. Kind of a neutral win, tied up in some legs. St. Peter's goes center ice with it. Tremaine intercepts, pushes it back to the boss. Boss back to Tremaine. Jumbled up in some feet. Boss tries again. Jumbled up in another player. Soft tap up to Sturba. Sturba centers
nice
it
pass.
over to Keeney. Keeney's got an attacker, loses it to the corner, puts on the brakes, changes direction, feeds back to the Boss. Boss tries to one-touch it back, and that gets intercepted. Ike comes cross ice, disrupts any sort of breakaway opportunity, and that one is called offsides as Omaha was gaining charge right back into the offensive territory. 3:44 now left in the first. 1-0, your Maverick lead. Shots on goal, 8-4 in the Mavs' favor. Same legs remain on the ice. Neutral zone face-off drop. St. Peter's pushes it ahead, gains territory. Lots of defense back. Trying to zigzag to the middle. A shot. Rosie with a save. Rebound attempt goes back behind. Spraying. Sorry about that. Sturba chips it off the boards to get it out of the zone. Uses his body. Wyatt Tremaine. Can he get the shot off? Yes. Big save by St. Peter's. Pushes it back to the slot. Loose puck picked up by St. Peter's. St. Peter's coming out of their zone. Centering feed. Nice defense by the Omaha Mavericks. There's Allers zigzagging through the neutral zone. Fishes it ahead to Taz. Taz. 2 men on him. Push to the boards, hits the brakes, at the dot, backhand towards the net, just wide. Allers on the forecheck, nice job to body and get the puck. Has another attacker, feeds it to the middle, and that one gets blocked by St. Peter's. Loose puck just across the crease, goes to the corner. Omaha on a grand attack here. Taz pushing it back towards the middle. Allers gets his feet taken out from under him. Puck still in the slot. Trickling, Vinny with a shot, Vinny with a rebound, puck lobbing in the crease again. Allers hits the ground. Nandor takes out an attacker. Embellishment going on here. I'm not sure.
I think we may have had a
bad collision.
I think the head may have hit the ice on that tumble.
Oh, did it? I'm sorry then. I apologize for that comment. Nandor came in aggressively to try and keep the puck from leaving the zone and ran over one of the St. Peter's players pretty hard. They are getting up on their own, making their own way off the ice. They were holding their head for a minute. It looked like they went down a lot easier, but maybe I didn't see it very clearly. So I hope that player's okay and will return to the game.
Nandy, I think, got a pretty good. That was head down, and a hit when your head is down always seems to hurt a little bit more.
Oh, definitely.
Good pressure on that last shift. Boy, they really got a lot of good scoring chances, up to 11 shots on goal now.
In the slot, by pressure, I'm saying those were inside shots.
Right. In the house.
Yes.
Shooting from the house.
2:17 left in the period. 1-0 Mavs in the lead. Fleming clubs the pass that comes out to the blue line. Puck leaves the zone momentarily. St. Peter's gets it in their own zone. Fleming bullies one player off the puck, but St. Peter's gets it in deep. Ike picks it up behind his own net. Chips it off the boards to keep it working around the short wall. St. Peter's on the attack. Jack pinches for a moment. Feed to the middle. St. Peter's can't get the shot off. Jack Davis pushes it ahead to Courtright. Courtright lobs it up to T-Squared. T-Squared lost in a couple players' skates. Regains control somewhat, and then Peters takes over. Rings around the boards here, changing direction. St. Peter's giving themselves some room to get it out. A big pop fly. Almost got pawed back down into the offensive zone, but then bounced out and then batted in deep to Omaha's territory. Fleming circling and gaining speed out of his own territory. Through the neutral zone, 1-on-4. Fleming loses it to the boards, dumps it in deep. A late hit on Fleming. No call. Maybe a call. Some extra chirping from Fleming as he got hit late after passing the puck. You could tell he was mouthing something after getting hit well after he released the puck. And whatever he said got him a minute and 30 in the sin bin. 1 minute and 8 seconds left in the first period.
Those usually come when you editorialize about the refereeing. And that may have been the case. May have been asking for some kind of call. That
all that happened within arm's reach of the ref, so not only did he see it, but he heard every bit of it. Yeah. Fleming's mouth caused him a penalty there, I guarantee that one. So a 5-on-4, Mavericks' second penalty of the game. We'll have a face-off back in Omaha territory. It looks like Will Allers on the face-off drop here. Trying to set the clock correctly. No penalty up there as we started a little prematurely.
Yeah, Will, Charlie,
Will,
out along with Gas and Bear.
Who did you say was the other defense? Is
Bear.
Boss?
But yeah, Boss is over here.
Okay.
On the near side.
So 5-on-4 for the remainder of the first. St. Peter's power play.
Oh, okay.
Fleming. Chirpy. Got himself.
Yeah. So 1.5 and 8. So they're having another person.
What do we got going
Oh,
on here?
no, they're calling it a major? No way. No. Yeah, we're good. 5-on-4. They gave him a major for whatever he said?
That was a misconduct penalty, 8-minute misconduct penalty.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So 5-on-5 hockey, will sit for an extended period of time.
Puts the Mavericks down to just 4 defensemen now.
Holy smokes. Here we go, face off in Mav territory. Puck won to the boards by Allers and then pushed out of the zone by Boss a little too aggressively. That's going to be an icing. I'm thinking the Mavericks just want to clear this period here and
get to the break.
Get themselves a reset and fresh start. Same face-off here. Now 1:04 left in the first period. 1-0 Mavericks in the lead. Even strength hockey, 5-on-5. Allers will square off again. Puck drop, trickles towards the slot. Bear takes over. Bear circles deep in his own zone. Circling now in nice and easy through the neutral zone. Gets past the red line, dumps it in deep. St. Peter's will take over behind their own net. The pass does get out of the zone. The Boss collects it, pushes it back to Bear. Bear repeats the same thing. The dump and chase. This time St. Peter's will go to the center of the ice. Boss will retrieve at the red line. Pass it right back in. That one's offsides. 34 seconds left in the first period. Neutral zone face-off favoring the Omaha Mavericks now. Paxson, Allers, Patera on the face-off offensive drop. The Bear, the Boss on defense. They're going with a neutral center ice face-off here.
I'm wondering if they're going to do that.
1-0 Mavs in the lead. Puck drops. Puck won to the boards, picked up by St. Peter's, pushed over to the Boss. Boss, cross ice to Bear, out of reach. Paxson picks it up. Gaining speed, taken down by a St. Peter's player. St. Peter's will now come back the other way slowly. Barely crossing the blue line, turned over. And the back and forth creates another offsides before this period ends. Now 15 seconds left in the first. Same legs remain on the ice. Same score remains on the board. Allers getting a lot of face-off practice in the last minute and a half of this period. Wins one back to the Boss cleanly. Boss
Nice pass.
up to Schneider through traffic. Schneider gains zone. Forced to the outside. A little bad angle shot goes just behind the net. Rings back up to the Boss, who keeps it in deep to Charlie. Charlie didn't quite stick handle past his defender, and the buzzer rings to end the first period. 1-0 Mavericks in the lead. That penalty on Fleming was a little momentum shift there. The last minute and 8 seconds of that period was really St. Peter's kind of...
You know what I liked about that, for the number of offensive zone faceoffs and ones just outside the blue line, they did a good job of controlling play. If not winning the puck off the faceoff, getting it back and being able to clear the zone. It wasn't like it turned into a mad scramble or anything like that. So that was something I think they could hang their hats on. Folks, while we got this opportunity, I want to thank our sponsors for this season, Nebraska Electric Power Sports. They have electric dirt bikes for all ages. Experience the future of electric dirt bikes. We sell fun. Nebraska Electric Power Sports. Also, Joe Chalin Tax Services. Thank you, Grandpa Joe. Also, Charleston Homes, providing the best home building experience in Omaha since 2007 and voted #1 Best of Omaha for 2025. And as well, our original sponsor for this season, Cottonwood Salon Suite Thank you to Vinny's Aunt Jessie for her sponsorship of this team all season long.
A fresh 13 will go on the clock, and I can't help but think that having Will Fleming in the penalty box is going to affect the game a little bit, being that he's an assistant captain and a standout defenseman for the Omaha Mavericks. So Mavericks will do just fine, but this will definitely affect the game a little without Will Fleming. He'll be sitting for another
They'll miss his wheels,
7 minutes for sure. Sturba, Jack Davis, Wyatt Tremaine on the ice. Nandy over to Ike. Ike feeds it in, intercepted at the blue line by St. Peter. St. Peter's goes cross ice. Mavericks push the puck into the zone. Turned over quick by Ike. Ike makes his way to the slot. Zigzag shot, save behind the goal line. Another shot from behind, and the goalie was able to swallow that one up and freeze it. Ike's show as he intercepted here at the top of the offensive zone and got 2 shots on goal. And some great pressure.
Wyatt has no problem with the dangles. He can get in there and twist and turn his way through a good crowd any day of the week.
Boy, he moves his feet. There's nothing like a good Wyatt Ike show. 12:38 now left in the second period. 1-0 Mavs in the lead. False start on the puck drop here. We have a out of position player maybe.
Yeah, maybe
On
some
the
encroachment off the face-off.
Same legs remain on the ice. Jack, Sturba, and Tremaine on offense. Ike and Nandor on defense. Face off in St. Peter's territory. Goes firm to the corner for Sturba. Sturba's going to battle. Comes up the short wall, then gets fired back behind the net. Tremaine from the corner back to Nandor. Nandor from the blue line skates it in shortly, then dumps it in deep. Ike from his blue line goes all the way into the corner to keep it in. Ike taking on 2. Puck goes loose to the corner. Feed back to Jack. Jack, top of the circle, fires. Big glove save down in front, and then St. Peter's gets it out of the danger zone. Back behind the goal line, round to the corner, and then wung out of the zone by St. Peter's. Likely an icing call coming up. No icing waved off. Ike hits the brakes, changes the directions to dodge one defender. Nice zigzag to dodge another. Then gets it out of his zone. Can't quite get it out of his zone. Nandor circling behind his own net. Nandor changing direction here. He's got 2 attackers in the corner. Big forechecking by St. Peter's, kind of forcing a turnover. Ike trying to get it out to the middle. Jack Davis finally able to skate it out of his zone. Tries to find Sturba on the lead. Can't quite get through traffic. St. Peter's bullying the UNO or Mavericks off the puck, creating the turnover and the dump in. Ike picks it up at his own blue line, zigzagging up the boards, forces to the middle, batted off his tape, then to the corner. Puck comes out of the corner hard. St. Peter's can't quite skate it out past Jack Davis. They're taking Ike's spot on the blue line. Nice job by Tremaine in deep. Bounces it out to Bear. Bear fires from the blue line, deflected, and then swallowed up. Sturba almost there for a big rebound opportunity.
Thought he was going to get the tip on that one. Maybe he did.
He
even
was
a little
inches behind,
Yeah.
swatting that one into the back of the net. 10:53 left in the second. 1-0 Mavs in the lead. Shots on goal 16-5 in the Mavericks' favor. Another offensive face-off drop for the Mavs. The Boss and the Bear on defense. Keeney, that's Heater, and that's Taz on offense. Puck comes up to Taz in the slot. Too much sword fighting to get a shot off. St. Peter's coming out of their own zone, gains offensive territory. Toe drags past one, tries to feed to the middle. Lots of skates in the way, can't get the shot off. Puck goes to the short wall. Taz, truck from behind. Decent angle, though. He's all right. Bear comes out with it, gaining speed through the neutral zone. Lots of defense in his way, forces him to the outside. The shot goes wide of the net. He picks up his own rebound, tries to feed it back to the middle, deflected back behind again. Heater, first one to it in the corner. He's got a man on him. Getting pinched and held in the corner, feeds it back to defense. That one gets deflected past the Boss. Boss hustles back to it, collects, quickly pushes it over to Bear. Bear's got a couple attackers. Bouncing puck comes out of the zone. The Bear's gonna zigzag to the middle. Blue line, fire, deflected by some legs. Stalls out at the top of the circle and then batted out of the zone. Keeney Cross ice to the Boss. Boss hustling to a loose puck. Chips it out towards the blue line. T-squared back to help. Puck didn't quite leave the zone. Must have left the zone because that's an offsides. So 9:40 now left in the second period. A neutral zone face-off coming up with T-squared Allers and Courtright on this face-off drop with Nandor and Ike on defense. Clean win back to Ike. Ike, top of his own circle, goes cross ice just out of reach of Allers. St. Peter's will skate it in. St. Peter's from the wall. Shot wide of the net. Soft tap back towards the net, picked up by Ike. Ike gaining speed out of his zone. Makes his way up the boards, hits the brakes, top of the circle, lobs it in deep. St. Peter's picks it up behind their own goal. And comes Allers to keep it in deep. St. Peter's behind their own goal again. Brings it up the boards. Ike stops that one, fires it right back in. Courtright's going to get to it in the corner first this time. Pushes it in deep. Pinched by a St. Peter's player. Penalty coming up. Did you see what that was, Dan?
No, I don't. I think it was for the hit on Jake, but I'm not sure. It was hard for me to see. I was looking at the screen here of the camera, and it's so small.
It looked like a relatively clean hit.
I thought so too, from what I could see, that is.
I'm not sure what the call was, I don't know what the call was there.
First power play of the day for the game, at least for the Mavericks.
Exactly 9 minutes left in the second period. Courtright, one of our guys is, that's Fleming, sorry. So we'll get a 5-on-4 power play here.
Correct.
So Courtright draws the penalty. Patera, Paxton, and Jack Davis out on offense. St. Peter's wings it out of the zone quickly. Forces Ike back to chase. That one's going to be an ice. So we got Nandor and Ike out there on defense. Same legs will remain on the ice after that icing by St. Peter's. They got 7 seconds off the penalty with that icing. So not a bad strategy, to tell you the truth. Trying to kill a 5-on-4 here, St. Peter's, for the first time in this game. Face off in St. Peter's territory. Jack Davis stalled it out in his legs. Paxton over to Patera. Patera trying to carry it off the boards. On his backhand, just out of reach through the slot. Patera shake and bake in the corner, making his way to the shot, to the slot.
Pipe.
Fires off the pipe back behind the goal line. He hustles to it once again. Paxton comes in to help. Paxton works in his way behind the net. Feeds it back out to Nandor. Fires. Big save. Puck comes loose back out of the short wall. Mavericks hustle back to keep it in. Nandor, good job keeping the puck in behind the goal line. St. Peter's first one to it. Playing it off the short wall. Ike stalling it out at the short wall, keeping the puck in deep. Paxton lobs one from the dot, and the goalie swallows that one up. 8:09 left in the game. Left in the second. 39 seconds left in the power play for your Junior Mavericks.
Sorry, man, the attack zone time has been terrific on this power play.
Yeah, I don't think they've come out of the zone but one time.
Yeah, but for the one icing.
The fresh legs for the power play unit are Sturba, Keeney, and help me out, that's Wyatt Tremaine on offense, the Boss, and the Bear on defense. Keeney pushes it back to Bear. Bear, top of the slot, fires, big save. 8:02 left in the second period. 32 seconds left in the power play. Relentless power play attack by the Junior Mavericks.
Now, we talked about it during the first game. This goaltender for St. Peter's is doing a terrific job. And right now, maybe in this one, single-handedly keeping his team in the game.
Same legs remain for this power play. Nice pushback by Keeney. Shot well wide of the net by Bear. Sturba picking it up in his corner. Gets an attacker on him. Keeney comes in to help. Sturba pulls it off the wall, pushes it to Keeney behind the goal line. Keeney from behind the goal, bounces it off the boards of Bear. Nice geometry pass to the Bear. Bear dodges a couple attackers, feeds it in deep all the way back around to Sturbs. Just out of reach of Sturbs. Boss will keep it in. Now picked up on the other side by Wyatt. Wyatt, his pass is hard and just out of reach. Off the bench, a new player for St. Peter's, and the Bear Shot by St. Peter's. Touched by Sturba, and the player from St. Peter's is getting up really slow. Oh man, Bear just dove to break up a breakaway opportunity for St. Peter's and took the player down a little bit too aggressively. Is that a penalty shot opportunity? No.
I don't think so. I don't think he was far enough in the clear on that one. They caught up to him.
Oh, tripping?
It's
Okay.
definitely a trip.
Yeah, so the Bear will go to the box. That's the end of the power play for the Omaha Jr Mavericks.
Second penalty kill of the evening for the Junior Mavs.
So now we turn right back into a 5-on-4 power play for the St. Peter's team. We're going to have a face-off in Omaha territory. Peter, Allers out there on offense. Ike and Nandor on defense. Puck drop in Omaha territory. Back to St. Peter's blue line. A deflected shot to the corner. St. Peter's picks it up in the corner. Has got lots of room. Shot. Big save by Rosie. Loose puck out in the circle again. Just past the defense. Comes loose out into neutral zone territory. Eater on the forecheck. Going to create a short-handed turnover here. Almost. St. Peter's now squeaking it out of their own zone. Goes cross ice with it. Gets past the red line. Centering pass again. Gets it into offensive territory. Top of the circle. Loses control. Stalls out. Shot. Blocker by Rosie. Picked up by Ike. Ike goes back behind his net. Nandor gets to it on the short wall. He's going to skate it out of the zone. Gaining speed from the neutral zone. Gets past one. Still on the wall. Now behind the goal. Gets the puck taken off of his tape. Still on the attack. Trying to get the turnover even though they're shorthanded. Ike stands it up at the short wall on the other side, gets trucked at the top of the circle, and Nandor comes in and finishes it. Nandor picked up a loose puck going towards the net and scored right as his defensive line mate got taken off of his feet.
Oh, Pikey's okay. He got clobbered by a guy who out-thicked him a little bit there. Matt, something we need to point out here. Second goal of the game for the Junior Mavericks. Second shorthanded goal of the game for the Junior Mavericks.
Absolutely. Ike, I agree with you, Dave. I hope he's all right. That's another player got caught with his head down and trucked by a big player. And those are those dangerous hits like we've seen
biggest.
Oppositely on the other side of the ice.
Yeah. That number 63 is a big lad.
And he's an aggressive hitter, too.
Yep.
So Omaha's got to keep their head up throughout the rest of these games.
I don't know if Bennett and Maresh were talking to the referee. I don't know if they were maybe agitating for a penalty on that play of some kind, a hit to the head or something.
63 is going to remain on the ice. This is a 6-foot kid. This is a 6-foot 14-year-old on the St. Peter's team. There's some discussion between the referees occurring. No penalties going to be.
They talked it over and got it all squared away. But what's important, Matt, is it's a 2-0 lead for the Junior Mavericks now. A little bit more breathing room here in this tight-fisted game against a very good goaltender.
That's what happens when you start playing too physically aggressive. You lose track of the actual athletic play of the game, and you start
you take yourself out of position.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You fall into quicksand and you start losing the game even more. Jack Davis T-squared on the ice for the offense. Keeney's moved back to defense. He's out there with the boss now, making some adjustments. The Mavericks are. A little neutral zone back and forth. Retore comes loose into St. Peter's area. St. Peter's skating it out their own into Mavericks territory. Zigzags to the middle. Puck wide of the net. A hit on Keeney in the corner. Puck come back to the slot. Rosie with a big save.
Oh my goodness.
And another one.
Point blank.
And
all
some
alone.
pushing and shoving in front of the net.
Keeney coming in to save the day.
Yeah, Matt, I wonder if we're seeing the transition of Abram back to defense to give Wyatt Ike a chance to kind of collect himself. If he hit his head or anything like that on that last play, You know, that takes the Mavericks down. Yet another defenseman with Fleming already serving that misconduct, although it looks like he's been freed up now.
So
Fleming
bringing out a big
back on
line.
the ice.
Bringing out a big line here. Jacob's the only one out there that's halfway shorter right now. We've got a big line because this St. Peter's team is getting awfully aggressive. Face off in Omaha territory.
Jake brings the big heart.
Yeah. St. Peter's back to their blue line. A shot deflected before it got to the net. Tied up top of the circle. Puck goes back to the dot. Jack Davis can't quite get it out of the zone. St. Peter's big save from Rosie. Bear bounces it off the glass. Now back into St. Peter's zone. A foot race. T-Squared can't quite get there before the icing is called. He was on the heels of preventing an icing there. That one will come back to Omaha's territory. 5:22 left in the second period. 2-0, your Mavs in the lead. 21-7, the shots on goal in the Mavs' favor.
Matt, we talked about it before. I think you mentioned it during the first game. Because of some attrition in the ranks of the teams playing in this tournament, these are the only two teams in the tournament, and they're playing each other 3 times. And as you noted, you're going to get to hate the other team pretty quickly in this situation. And these two teams have played hard in the first game and almost 2 periods now. 2-on-2
through the neutral zone. T-Square gets to the middle. Shot. Big save by St. Peter's. Frees the time now at 5:05 left in the second period. Yeah, definitely both teams needing to keep their heads up the rest of this game. And Will Fleming now joins us after sitting his 8-minute major.
Wyatt Ike back out too. That's good news.
Ike's back on the ice after taking a big hit. So Omaha full strength now. Both teams full strength. 5-on-5 hockey. Face off in St. Peter's territory. Ike taps it in off the glass and keeps this one below the goal line. Patera pinches it on the short wall, keeps it back in deep. St. Peter's behind their own goal line. Jumbles one back out to the blue line. Keeney tried to handle it for a moment. St. Peter's batted it off of his tape, circles it around the boards. Nandor can't quite keep it from coming out of the zone. Ike hightailing it to get to a loose puck with a chaser. Ike puts on the brakes, bounces it off the boards to himself. Zigzag out to Keeney. Keeney into the zone. Oh, sorry, that's Paxson. Snyder got a shot on goal from the top of the circle and a big glove save by the 10. He shut the door to keep the score only 2-0. Mavs in the lead. 4:26 left in the second. Mavs out shooting St. Peter's 23-7 now. Keeney, Patera, Snyder out there on offense. St. Peter's bounces it off the wall to get out of the zone. Ike back to retrieve. Got a forechecker on his heels. Going behind his own goal line. Changes directions to give a little bit of space. Tries to get it up to Nandy. Nandy chips it up to Keeney. Keeney over to Patera. Patera gains offense. Can't get past the last defender. Goes to the corner.
Ooh.
Patera elbows a little high. And now getting double teamed in the corner as the retaliation from St. Peter's occurs. Checking from behind. I'm going to say both of them probably needed to go. Looks like Patera's just going to go on his own, though. He took a big elbow from behind after he gave a hit. So, to me, that's 2 players going, 1 for each team.
Roughing will be the call against Charlie Patera.
This is where we're going to see the penalties start getting carried away. This is 1.5 games against the same team, and we got 1.5 games left to play. This is where the boys start learning numbers, learning faces, and the targeting starts occurring. The aggression comes out. 5-on-4, St. Peter's on a power play. Face-off in Maverick territory. Allers on the face-off drop. Puck drop. Nice charge by Fleming off the puck drop. He gets out of the zone. Just barely squeaks past a big hit on the big man. Loose in the St. Peter's end. From behind the net, St. Peter's bounces it off of the boards. The boss over to Wyatt. Wyatt has to retrieve a pass deep in his own zone. Sauces it up. Intercepted by St. Peter's. Dropped by the big man. Allers picks up a loose puck. Allers one-on-one. Stick handles top of the circle. Loses control. Has to recollect. Can't quite get it to the middle. St. Peter's gets it out of the zone. Wyatt back to the boss. Boss bobbles it back to Fleming. Fleming off the boards, tries to get it to Allers. That one goes into the zone. Allers on a forecheck, and that one's going to be an icing before any man can get to it. 3:13 left in the second. 45 seconds left in the Charlie Patera penalty. 2-0, your Mavs in the lead. And I'm going to say the shots again because they haven't changed. 23-7 in Mavericks' favor. They haven't changed since St. Peter's is on a power play.
They have not registered a shot yet on Rosie during this man advantage. 45 to go, halfway through.
St. Peter's wins the face-off. Comes loose out to the middle. Lots of feet in the way. A shot by St. Peter's doesn't make it to the net again. Ike picks it up. Tries to tap it ahead to Jack. It's turned over by St. Peter's. St. Peter's top of the slot. Fire. Big save. Rebound. Another big save. Loose puck in the slot. Shot goes behind. Ike rings it around the boards. Jack Davis pinches it to get it out of the zone. 2-on-2 developing the other direction. Jack gets pushed on the short wall. Coming out to the dot. Feeds it through the slot. Up comes Bear. Fires from the wall. Goes wide of the net. Rings around back to Ike at the opposite blue line. Soft tap. Up into the corner. St. Peter's trying to work it up the wall. Jack Davis stirring it up. Jack taking on two. Puck goes in deep. St. Peter's going behind. Turnover created. Fired through the slot. Back to the other side of the boards again. Jack Davis feeds it in deep. In comes Taz.
Fresh players
with
getting out there.
Vinny Heater, fresh legs on the change here for the short-handed. We're full strength now. Omaha Mavericks 5-on-5 hockey. St. Peter's collecting in their own zone on the short wall. Chip it past Ike. Jack Davis back to retrieve with a forechecker on his heels. Changes direction in his own circle. Soft pass up to Ike. Ike trying to gain speed, gets it out of the zone. Battered off of some tape. Vinny Heater trying to keep it moving forward, but St. Peter's chipping the puck back into Maverick territory. Ike now resetting behind his own goal line. There's a nice pass up to Taz. Taz gaining speed in the offensive zone. Got an attacker, gets trucked from behind. A shot and a save by the St. Peter's goaltender. Taz pops back up quickly.
I think that one was kind of up on, must have been up on edge on Taz a little bit because he raised it definitely more than he wanted to there.
Got the shot off just in time, and that player wasn't much bigger than he was, in similar size, but a big speed momentum and took him off his skates well. Puck goes into the corner, court right, in a corner battle, gets it back to Fleming, fires, big blocker save, comes out to T-squared, works it back in deep, now behind the net. Stick handling back to Fleming, fires one-timer off the side of the net. Now in the corner, St. Peter's works it up the short wall, intercepted by T-squared again. T-squared working his way in deep, turned over by St. Peter's, passed out to the middle. Neutral zone, tries to feed the middle. T-squared turns it over after it got tangled up in some feet. Tapped ahead, intercepted at the blue line, stays in the zone, court right. Two attackers, gets it battered off of his tape. T-squared gets it behind the goal line, fires it back through the slot, forcing Nandor to hustle to it back in his own zone. Nandor changes direction, avoids one, long pass up to T-squared, avoids one attacker, jumbled up a little bit through the slot. Here comes a shot, big save off of the mask by the St. Peter's Tendy. Fleming will get it before it comes out, fires one well wide of the net. Nandor will get it at the other side on the blue line. Fires one through legs. That one slowed down just enough to be saved.
It's a shooting gallery.
11 seconds left in the second period. 26-9 now the shots on goal in Mavericks' favor. 2-0 still your score. Face-off coming in St. Peter's territory. Fleming and Nandor out on defense. Sturba, Allers, Paxson, Schneider on offense. Face-off drop, tangled in the referee a little bit. Nandor will feed it to the corner. Sturba out of the corner, back to Fleming. Fires well high and wide into the glass. Paxson picks it up in the corner, and that'll buzz the end of the second period. 2-0 Mavs in this lead.
Matt, St. Peter's, the players all need to come together, chip in, by their goaltender a big foot-long sub sandwich for the work that he has done today, because he has faced 26 shots, only 24 have gotten by him. He has really, really worked. He's taken 2 off the beak tonight.
A couple of them he made with his teeth. So way to go, St. Peter's Tindy. And how about Rosie? A couple of sprawling saves on that end of the ice as well. Those 9 shots came with very little contest.
Yeah.
So Rosie doing a good job getting back up and saving second shot attempts.
Yeah, he had one, the point blank one where we lost our man in front, and it was Rosie and the shooter. He makes the save and then was able to scramble across and make a save on a rebound chance too. So yeah, Rosie, he's only made 9 saves, but he's had some gems in there for sure. Folks, want to thank again our sponsors for our broadcast all year long, Cottonwood Salon Suite. Also, Charleston Home, voted #1 Best of Omaha for 2025. Our thanks to Joe Chalin Tax Services for his good work, and this is coming up on the busy time of year for Joe Chalin. And as well, our thanks to Nebraska Electric Power Sports. We have electric dirt bikes for all ages. We sell fun.
A war cry rings out from the Omaha Mavericks bench. Rosie will dance his way back to the crease to protect the net between the pipes.
Identical to where we were, Matt, at this point in time in the early game today. Mavericks up 2-0 as we head to the third.
Wyatt Tremaine, Will Allers. What do we got over there? Paxton Schneider?
No, that looks like, is that Sturbs?
Sturbs on offense with the boss and the Bear on defense. Poked ahead nicely.
Get onside.
Offsides for a moment, but cleaned in. St. Peter's will pick it up behind their own net. They ring it around the boards. Allers stirs it up a little bit and slows it down, but the loose puck comes out to the neutral zone. A one-on-one developing with nice back checking by the Mavs. The Bear forces him to the wall. Feed back to the defense. Defense bats it back ahead. Loose puck in the corner. Bear rings it around the boards. Sturba still on his horse. Gets his own dump in. Gets pinched off the puck quickly. St. Peter's coming back the other way. Bounces one out. We just had a neutral zone face-off drop deep into territory from behind the goal line. Works his way out to the crease. Still battling a backhander. 3 men pushing him away out of the crease as the goaltender was up from Ike to Schneider. Schneider gonna dump it in. The chaser is Paxson and Patera. They pop it up over Schneider's stick. Nandor feeds it out to the middle. St. Peter's takes over, gets to the middle. Nandor will take the puck off a hit. Got a little bit of space, got poke checked gently. Nandor keeps it in the zone. Back to Nandor's tape. Puck comes to the slot. Patera getting exhausted here as the puck staying right there in his quarter of the ice. Patera winning another corner battle. Pushing it, pushes it cross ice. Smart move to Ike. Lots of shooting lane. Big save by the goaltender. Loose puck gets picked up by the goalie. A cross check to the face of
St. Peter's clearly wants to do a lot of hitting. I don't think these referees have been able to control this game quite the way our first set of officials did.
St. Peter's clears it out. Bear picks it up, avoids 2 attackers, gaining speed through the neutral zone. Staines almost got past a third from the wall, fires one hard through the slot. Keeney picks it up, gets it batted off of his tape hard. Fleming retrieves in his own territory, pushes one nice and hard up to Keeney. Keeney at the blue line, picked up by T-Squared. T-Squared from the dot. Getting forced down below the goal line, tries to get it to Courtright in the physical attack by the St. Peter's team.
Yeah, I think
behind the goal line, fed back out to Taz in the middle. That one got saved. Now off the Bear, blue line fires just wide. Fleming steps up, fires again, well wide of the net. Gains territory. Stalled out at the top of the circle. All there's 33 left in the game.
folks, our apologies for the connection issues.
They're going to call Ike left in the game. St. Peter's now on this power play. From the top of the circle, fires. Another big save by Rosie. Rebound picked up by Nandor. Nandor goes off the glass. This one will be an icing all the way down. Goes behind his own net, goes up the short wall. Paxson pinches his man. Another St. Peter's person comes in and takes it over. Loose puck to the blue line. Shot just wide of the net. Nandor in the corner. Fed it up. Can't get it passed out of the zone. Nice job by Fleming. Bowling is St. Petersburg has really been effective. They are keeping it in the zone, and another big save by Rosie there. Bear goes off the glass. That one bounced. Can it make it out of the zone? Not quite again. Boss comes in.
There you go.
He fires one off the glass. That one likely an icing again. Just a desperate. He squared with some legs all alone. Shot, score! I want to say that's his 6 minutes left in the game. Mavericks playing ping pong in the neutral zone with St. Peter's. Stick handles past one. Top of the circle, fires. Big save by the goaltender. Bounces out to St. Petersburg St. Peter's loose in a few skates. T-squared picks it up. T-squared feeds it back to the Bear. Bear took one off his skates. Changes direction behind his own goal line. The dot. Now the corner. Can't stick handle past the defenseman, but he's still giving it the effort. On the short wall, Fleming working his way challengingly out towards the middle. Loose puck to the other wall. St. Peter's got a man all alone. A breakaway chance from the slot. Shot! Big save by Rosie. Puck comes soaring back out. Blue line. Peter can't quite get it out. Defense still digging in. Forced to retrieve back deep in his own zone. Fleming from the
Junior Mavericks have to just stick with their system and continue to play the way they've been playing.
3:01 left in the game. 3-0. Mavericks in the lead. A shot off the face-off drop goes wide of Rosie into the corner. St. Peter's comes off the boards with it. To the slot, can't get the backhand off. Peters have been putting in the work here in the third. They've changed their momentum from all hitting.
Getting it in deep like they were before and putting the pressure on.
Heaney taking off the puck right after he gained the charge. St. Peter's coming back the other way. Now charging back towards Maverick territory. Nice turnover by the Mavericks. Patera gains the territory, gets it taken off of his tape. Schneider follows up, gets a shot, can't quite get through traffic. St. Peter's lobs it in. Bear with the net. St. Peter's coming back the other way now. St. Peter's through the neutral zone. Not much momentum. Puck comes back the other way. Patera getting a second chance. Patera along the boards.
And take away all that St. Peter's momentum.
3-1. Mavericks. Fleming tries to keep it in. Tangled up in some feet. T-squared comes in to help. Stick handling through some legs. Over to the dot. Tries to feed the middle and nothing but St. Peter's there. Ike picks it up on the short wall. Feeds it in deep. Gets the late hit. Oh, Courtright gets trucked. Allers got trucked hard there as he was trying to make his way to the zone, to the crease. Ike stops it at the blue line from coming out.
St. Peter, they've lost this tournament because they have lost 2 of the 3.
It's going on right now.
It'll be a tough game tomorrow at Moto McLean Ice Arena, and we hope
at Moto McLean Ice Arena. We have gone